ooh, okay, that's good. All right, so you only get a single page in one compiler, and you may want to save your code, you may want to run it locally, and you don't want to put it up here. But for work, we're not going to do it in one compiler. This is for coding challenge. This is for interview questions. When an interviewer asks you a question during the interview, they will say, okay, go to one compiler and then write me this, and you will be writing it. But sometimes they will say, okay, guys, mute yourself. Okay. Sometimes they will say line by line, line number 4, what's happening? Line number 5, what's happening? Line number 6, what's happening, right? So here, one compiler and any tools that are similar. This is online Java compiler, and you can use any one of them that are out there to write your Java program. But for work, we will be using a tool called IntelliJ, and that's what I want to introduce you to. If you go and Google it, right? You can Google and say IntelliJ, download IntelliJ, for example. The first link should be one from JetBrains, and then you have 2 options. If you're Windows, you select Windows and you still have 2 options. If you're Mac, same thing, 2 options. We're looking for community version. This is a free open source, and this is basically as good as everything else. We don't need those extra things that it provides when you pay for it, so we're fine. And once you download, that's where we can start to write code. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and I'm going to share my IntelliJ in about a minute. I'm still installing. I decided to delete everything out and pretty much have this so we can show you from scratch. So let me stop sharing first, and let me open up my IntelliJ. Oh, where did we go? Okay. IntelliJ IDEA. Okay. Applications. Okay, it's opening up. So it's going to take a second before I can share. All right. All right, it's loading, guys. So give me a sec. All right. So the first thing that you will see when you have IntelliJ, and let's see, where is this go? IntelliJ, there you go. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So if you never ever opened a project or created a project, you will not see these things, okay? Because I have so many things going on. Even though I just freshly downloaded IntelliJ, it's still showing all these projects. I'm going to remove that and make it look like it's the first time ever. Okay. So now you see this screen, you got projects, you got nothing. So the first thing you want to do is click on new project. And then you want to click on Java. And Maven, we're going to cover something later on. For now, these 2 options, leave it empty. Click next. And then I want you to click on create project from template. Okay. And then click next. And then here I will say learning. For example, we're learning Java today, right? Basic Java, right? For example. So the project name is always relevant to the name of the team. So let's say, okay, I'm gonna put this outside.
By the way, we can't see the pop-up screen.
Oh, you can't see the pop-up screen. Okay. So let me just see. I think I gotta share one more time. Let's see. IntelliJ IDEA. Okay. Okay. So now you see this, you know, the pop-up screen, and from there, when I go to the next page, I will show you. I will share one more time with the entire IntelliJ. So for now, on this pop-up, let's go back previous. You're clicking on command line app and creating project from template, and you're leaving this to blank. Okay. So next, command line needs to be checked right there, and then you give it a name. Here, typically when you basically, let's say this is for test automation, and this is the end-to-end testing, you can say something like this, E2E automation, right? I'm just giving you an idea for writing names for your automation test. If this program is to generate something like, let's say you're creating a program to give people advice on buying home. So you can say home loan calculator, for example. So it has to be a relevant name to what is the objective of your program. Today's objective is learning basic Java. So that's what I will be putting in finish. And then I'm gonna go ahead and share the entire screen. Obviously you guys don't see it right now. So 1 second. All right, and share one more time. All right, so in here, it just gives you tips and things like that. I'm gonna close that and share the full screen. All right, let's see. Participants now can see, okay. I hope, can you guys see the screen or no?
Yes, yes.
The whole screen.
No, I just see a white page. Now nothing.
Okay, that's fine. I will go ahead and try to share one more time. The thing is that the reason why I don't share my entire desktop is because I'm using a very large screen and it's going to look very weird for you to see. So 1 second, let me see if I can do the whole thing. There we go. All right, we are here. Okay, we are here. This is your program, and it contains Java. How do you know Java is there or not in your system? You can do two things. One, you can just see if the Java libraries are here. This is languages that we can use. So for example, when you say, for example, system.out, right? It's actually belongs somewhere. It's coming from somewhere here. These functions do something for us and they're within this code. If I delete these files, external libraries, it will not work. We need JDK, we need Java, okay, to be able to execute our code. Otherwise, the computer doesn't understand. So now system.out, as you can see, it's giving me suggestion. Do you want this or do you want that? The first program we're going to run is hello world. This is what everybody do, right? So I have to do this. I'm going to run it. And let's see what is the output. And then we got this printing, right? So we are, at least we know that we are good in terms of our code. The next thing is, if I'm going to write a program that will take users input, I need to make sure that I teach you guys a few lines of code, okay? And the first thing first is that if I'm going to create something useful, again, I'm still brainstorming and kind of understanding what we need to do. So let's create a plan. And I'm going to need your help on this. And then here. So give me a plan, right? What do we want to do? What do we want to ask our customer? Okay, first of all, names, right? Number one, what to ask, right? Number one, we want to ask them, and this is, again, this is not even part of the code. This is, we're writing a little bit of note so we know what program we'll be creating, okay? So number one is, we're saying ask them for their names, because how are you going to address them, right? So you ask them for their name. Number two is that maybe you want to ask them, okay, first of all, what do you want to do? That's the question, right? Anybody wants to give me an idea what kind of calculator we want to create? So if you want to create, for the sake of time, right, because it's going to be a huge one, let's say the
Location.
first location. Okay. Okay, so location doesn't help with calculation, right? So name is just to say, hi, John, you said you're going to buy it for this. Do you have this much money? So let's say we are asking,
down payment.
Yeah, so let's say down payment calculation, and we want to give them an idea if they have to pay mortgage insurance. So How many people know that when you buy a house and you don't pay 20%, you have to pay PMI, which is a mortgage insurance?
Yeah,
I have no idea. 4 people.
if you are not paying 20%, then you have to pay
Pay a
like for
PMI.
the mortgage insurance.
Right. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
we want to create a calculator to tell users, hey, can you increase your down payment so that way you don't pay the PMI, you know? So that's one. There is going to be a pretty good calculation there. The other one, you can tell them what is their monthly payment. What, you know, that is extensive program. That's going to be a lengthy one. And then the other one we can tell them is that how much money they will have to borrow. Maybe that's probably easier. Okay, so I'll just do that one first, and then we can go into more extensive program. Let's see how long this one takes. I don't know, because we're going to be working together, so I expect it will take a little bit of time. So the intention, the plan is to, objective is basically to know okay, no okay, tell users just how much money they will need to borrow to buy a home. So if that's the case, guys, if that's the case, okay, we take the name just for the purpose of addressing them, like, hey, John, this and that, right? Then the next possible information that we need to tell them, if we want to tell them how much money they will need to borrow to buy their home, is that we need a asking price, don't you think? Or we need the agreed amount, the amount of money that both party agreed in order to purchase that home. So let's say agreed asking price or agreed amount is same things, asking price of the home. We need to ask them. Number 3 is we need to ask them for what else? What else do we need to ask them?
Their income.
No, income doesn't help here, right? So asking price, then we need to ask them what is the down payment.
But interest rate.
Yeah, a down payment. I think interest rate doesn't really play a part in here, right? Let's see how much information. So if we do down payment minus from the asking price, can we tell them this is how much money you'll be borrowing?
Yes.
Okay, good. And then we can do further calculation and say in 30 years, this is how much you will be paying in interest rate, interest only, right? So we'll do that. We'll add it to this program for now. Let's not think too much. We'll just do this much first. Okay, so one thing at a time. So we're not overwhelmed and think too much ahead of time and not be able to do what we need to do. So we need to have, in Java, there is a class called scanner, right? And scanner basically helps us to be able to scan for inputs and then use that. So scanner is used to get user input, and it is belong to Java util. So for now, just know what a scanner is, and that will be it, right? So to take the first name and last name, I'm going to tell scanner something. Okay. SC A. Okay, there you go, right there. It belongs to java.util somewhere here. Okay, so we'll say, okay, this is a class. We're going to call this. When we call an object from a class, right? And I'm just going to say my object at this point. And we have to call it like this. Okay, we have to use the word keyword new in order to call something from this scanner. And then we have to provide what we're getting it from. So we're going to system.in. Okay, so just know that this is something that I will not expect you to know what it is, but at least know this is the way we're going to be getting the user input. You will get used to it soon. Okay. So now we're going to say system.out. print ln, and we're going to ask a user a question. What is your name? What did I do wrong? Why is it red, guys? Number 7.
The
quotation.
quotation.
Good. Quotation. Even I make mistakes, so it's good. So now we are asking this question, but we need to be able to put this answer somewhere, right? When they enter the question, we need to be able to put it somewhere. So we're going to put it in a string because it's a name, right? So we want to read user input or their name, same thing, right? Input means whatever we get from them, right? So we're going to say string user name is, and we probably should do first name, last name, but it's okay. We'll just do it for now. We'll think that it's first name only. What is your maybe first name? And then we'll make it more relevant. User first name and is equal to, you have to call this object, okay? My object dot next line, right? Okay, find line. No, we gotta do next line. So notice how it's kind of giving you suggestion based on what you're trying to do. So that's why you don't have to memorize everything in programming. Okay. And then we're gonna say, so now whatever is the user is gonna enter, we're gonna be able to read. So just for the sake of argument, we want to make sure that we're reading this value, and to see if this value works, what I will do, I'll print out something. Okay, so that way we can read that value, right? So in our ln, we're gonna say something, welcome, okay, something like this, right? Welcome, and then his name, right? We got to put in the better, and then plus, and then we need username, and then plus, and we're going to say to, what is this? Is this calculator, something like that, whatever, like mortgage calculator. And then we go, it even probably correct your spelling mistakes. So if you kind of like me, you can just go ahead, and there is that suggestion, actually probably gives you suggestion. There we go, replace with this calculator. There you go. So this IDE, almost like your friend, it does a little bit more than what you are used to in one compiler. One compiler can do so much because they're just they're not full-fledged in order to help you write your program. So if this is the case, we should be able to, if this program works, we should be able to see the name and the whole string, right? We have a space right here. I just added right here. There is a space right here. So the name will have well-versed spacing. So I'm going to run this program, run main, and it should probably ask me for something. Okay, what is your name? And I have to enter right here, okay, below. So I'm going to say Jewel, enter. So far, so good. Welcome, Jewel, to Mortgage Calculator, right? So we were able to take a string from a user. That's to begin with. What is the next thing we need to do? We have a list, asking price. What is the home price? Home price, their purchasing price. Or purchasing price probably makes more sense. So the next one is calculator, and then okay, the next one, purchasing price, is please tell me okay, purchasing, get purchasing price, and the way we're gonna get it, we're gonna do the same thing just like that. So string purchasing price should be int, right? Let's see if that's kind of my object. Next line, but then we need to let them know. We need to let them know something, right? And okay, let's see what is the suggestion. Wrap in parse int. Okay, that's good, and we're good to go. So the reason why we have to do parse int, this is called parsing, meaning whatever information that we're getting, it's always going to be coming in string because it's coming from user. Okay, so so we have to do the conversion because it's a number and price is a number, okay? And I'm gonna say home. If you don't understand, please ask the question because this is the only way I can help you, right? So we're taking that information, but we're not asking a question. So let's ask a question just like this, okay? What is the purchasing price, right? Home price, maybe that's better. Okay, what is the purchasing price? And that is that. Okay. Now, if I run this real quick, it'll do the same thing. First name, again, I'll write it here. And then it says, what is the purchasing price? I say 800,000. That's how much money I want to spend. 1, 2, 3. And that's it. Exit code 0. It didn't print anything. Anybody want to know why? What's going on? Let's talk about this, right? It took the number, but it didn't do anything with it, right? It's because we didn't really print out like this is, you know, the purchase price and anything, right? So the next thing we can probably ask, we can probably do a loop in here and say, look, we're gonna ask them a confirmation. Is that a yes or is that a no, right? Is your purchasing price 800? Is that a true or is that not true, right? And if they said no, I miswritten, it's not the one, and they said no, then what we can do is that we can ask them to give us the purchasing price one more time. You know, that's one thing. So we can make our program a bit more intelligent, but let's go through the whole program first. So now that we know that home price is an INT, and therefore we can say it's a whole number, I am sure nobody's going to sell 800,000.12, something like that. It's always going to be whole number that we want to calculate. So now the next thing we want to do is down payment. So we're going to say get down payment. And now here we're going to say down payment. What is your down payment for this home, right? And we're going to do the same thing, down payment. And again, notice how we're taking the information and we're parsing it to be a number, because when the user enters the number from here, it is going as a string. So we're converting that into a INT. Okay, just make sure that you guys kind of get this. Okay, so we take this information, we took both of them. Now we're going to do calculation. Now we're going to tell them results, and then we'll do some more. Anybody with any questions in the meantime? So results, we have to do kind of like a very small calculation, like which is home price minus down payment, right? So we can say INT borrowing amount. Borrowing amount is, so the amount it will take for you to kind of be able to buy this house minus this, right? And I think I'm missing something, which is this. So borrowing amount is this, right? So now on the result, we probably want to be nice enough to let them know, right? So I'm gonna do this. Thank you for the information. Your amount is to buy this home. Right, thank you for the information. Your borrowing amount is this to buy this home, right? So hopefully we should be being able to, I guess, being able to get the result. This is a very small, tiny program, but we will make it more and more and more usable, because this is, again, anybody can do them themselves. And why would they even use this? So we'll make it useful enough for you to probably use this at home, and even make it better for you too. Okay, welcome. What is your purchasing price? I'm gonna say 750 this time. So 750,000, enter. What is your down payment? So I want to do only maybe 20,000. That's what I can afford. 1, 2, 3. And then it says that thank you for the information. Your borrowing amount is this to buy this home. All right. So we will also do exception handling at this at some point. Somebody want to tell me what is exception? You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. I can go line by line and explain if you guys are confused. It's kind of feel like that you guys are kind of taking it in as an information, but it's still processing in your mind. So that's fine. We're going to make it more intelligent. This program where actually you can use it to make decisions on buying home. But this is the first phase of this, right? Everything has version. Let's say version 0.1 at this point. It simply tells you what is your down payment. That's it, period. We can do more and more and more calculation. In order to do more calculation, we have to know more information, which is the next thing. We need to know is the interest rate to tell them what is the amount after 30 years, or in 30 years they will be paying, So, all right, so let's think this in, right? First, let's take it easy and go line by line. What's happening? Okay. Anybody has any question on so far?
Yeah, teacher, the first line, here is the screen. We find a type screen, but what is this? My object?
Scanner. Yeah. So a scanner is a class. So remember, when you write program in Java, it gives you useful methods or useful functions for you to use. The only way you can get user information from them, you have to use a class called scanner, because that's what it does. It scans for information, and then it takes that information and basically makes it into, puts it under that object. And now you're saying the next line, every information going into the object and put it into a line of this object, right?
So teacher, here I have a question. When I wrote the scanner, but I didn't, I find the scanner view, but I didn't find the my object. So should I write it?
My object is a name. I can, instead of saying my object,
okay.
I can say
Create a name. Okay, understand.
Get info.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to change this name because it's kind of confusing. So get info. Now I have to change everywhere because that's the get. Okay, 1 second. Okay, there we go. So get info, and now it is a different name, whatever name you want. Like now you may say, okay, is it running though? Let's see if it runs. Okay, so first name. What is your purchase price? This time is 700,000. 1, 2, 3. What is your down payment? This time is 50,000. 1, 2, 3. And then we have an exit code of 0. That means everything worked fine. We need $650,000 to buy this home. This is how much money that we'll be borrowing from the bank. Okay. All right. So everybody, I assume that understood everything so far, line by line, before I go into the next.
I have a question.
Sure.
So how you wrote after you ran the coding and everything, like Jewel and then the number, the second box I'm talking about. Is it because of some function you used here before you ran it?
Yes. So the reason why it's taking my information is because of this guy. It's basically taking information and putting it into get info variable one line at a time. So for example, the first, when we entered information like name, it put it on the first line, then we get the second. So it's basically each line is going and getting the information from the next line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's how you are being able to write, like after
Yeah.
you are running the code.
Next line is to read. Yeah, is to read the, I guess to be more precise, scanner is a class and it creates object when we call it, and the method scanner class pretty much right here, that we're right here, and then we have to create the, okay, this whole line is basically creating the object. This is the class, and when we create an object, we use a new keyword to create the object, and this is the way we're going to be calling scanner. So for now, as long as you understand this much, you're good. In order for you to capture people's input, their whatever they want to give you, then you have to use this, and then you will be able to capture it under like a variable like this one. So get info again is the object, and then you're saying next line to put it into the next line, right? For this, and then it has a variable name. Therefore, you can call this variable at any time, and you will get the same information that you get it from the user.
Okay. Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay.
And the
Let's-
first scanner get info new scanner system.in. Is the system.in is the system input?
No, it's different. System out. You see, when you write system here, and you'll see a lot of things that you have available to you. So system, and as soon as put a dot, in, out, whatever. So system out is to print out, system in is to get the information, right? This is an input stream. It will allow you to type it here. Okay. Then we have so many other things that at some point you'll use something from here. The reason why it gives you suggestions like this is because the IDE that we're using is telling you what can you and what can you not use. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
Teach,
yes.
sorry.
Mhm.
Scanner is the class, and whatever is in the new scanner, the object. So my question is where we will get the info.
where we're
the new-
getting this information is basically,
Yes.
So you see, like for username, we are saying
Mhm.
get info is the, you see,
Class, I know that,
Right.
but my sorry,
the variable.
the variables are the objects. I get that. The class objects, that's clear. My
Mhm.
question is when since I'm running it in one compiler for today, I'm
Mhm.
not getting the objects variables. So where do I get that? Like you put jewel and the values and all those things.
It's not printing.
mine
You're
is
saying
too,
it's
just-
not printing.
No, just printing like what is your name?
Oh, okay. And then you have to enter the name on the console side. On the right side, you have to enter it in order to be able to.
Mine is says only read only view. It doesn't let me
Ah.
write the name.
Okay, so they
That's
don't
why
allow
I
you.
got stuck. Yeah.
That's fine. They don't allow you to, because in this case, if you want to do that, you can probably use W3. W3, they allow you to enter data. So look for a category called Java user input in W3.
Mhm.
You'll be able to do the same program there. The way that we're writing here, you can do it exactly the way over there also. But for those with computers, make sure that you're using your IntelliJ to do this, because not all the compiling websites will allow you to take information and save it and then give you later.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, cool. So because again, like those websites, compiling websites, they create for learning purposes. So they don't have the ability to do a lot of things. Here now you can create a full-fledged program that you need to do. All right, so that's great. So now that we know a user borrowing amount and down payment, what information do we need in order to calculate a little bit more into this, right? Ideas, guys. Anybody anybody a real estate agent or anything like that here? Or nobody's a real estate agent? Okay. Anybody ever did like accounting? Should help me here, right? Because accounting wasn't my major. Okay, let me go and look into a actual mortgage calculator and see what they need for us to okay, so then let's say we want to calculate monthly payment. Okay, this is gonna be pretty complex calculation, so you guys gonna have to help me. Okay, calculate. Okay, calculate. Monthly payment. So in order to calculate monthly payment, you can't just simply take the borrowing amount and divide it by 30. For example, sorry, divided by what, 72 months or something like that. But we'll look into that. But we need to add the interest also. We need to be able to add interest. So don't you want to ask the interest rate? Pretty much, don't you want to ask them for what is the interest rate? So now interest rate comes in decimal. So if we get decimals, what do we use?
Double.
Double, right? We can use double for sure, right? So let's do that. So we have to do the parsing, same thing, right? So we're gonna say double. Interest rate, and then we want to get information from next line, right? And then it will give us an error, and I'm gonna give you guys a simple way to fix this. You see, it says wrap. The thing is that when you use an IDE, some things it will do it for you. It will give you a suggestion. Hey, do you want to fix it this way? So you got red because double, and then get this is by now as is a string, but you're saying you want to do double. Now it's gonna say, hey, if you want to do double, let me help you. So right click on this, sorry, not right click, there is a red light bulb and it says rapid double purse double, right? Not a string, because that's the secondary choice. String, then we cannot do calculation. Okay, so now we did a double. You see double dot purse double. So whatever the user is sending us, it could be a string, but we will still be able to convert it with code to do the calculation. Now there will be a significant problem. For example, we look at the borrowing amount. We missing something else. Okay, we can't just go ahead and do down payment, and we need something else. What do we missing if we're buying a house? I'm gonna copy this and for the sake of argument, and then paste it to kind of have that information taken from our users, right? So anybody else have any other thing like cost? When you buy a house, it's not just down payment.
Closing cost?
Closing cost, that's it. Closing cost, and this is going to be parse int, that's fine. I'm just going to give it a name. Closing cost, okay, that's it. Closing cost. So now if I say borrowing amount, this, is it helping? No, right? Because we're missing the closing cost. So home price plus closing cost, right? And then minus the down payment, correct? Makes sense, right? So let's see what's the deal first, and then, all right. So interest rate, let's go ahead and get that.
Is not a part of down payment?
It's not, because like closing cost gets wrapped into the total price, and then whatever down payment you made, it gets deducted. Okay, because they don't charge you separately for closing cost, because that's still part of the cost, right? You're buying the home, it should go into the total price. That's your closing cost. Think about it. Okay, so home price, closing cost, this, that. It makes sense, right? This calculation is good. Anybody with accounting background? We're saying the total price and closing cost minus the down payment will give you the borrowing amount. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's correct, I'm gonna leave this alone for now. It'll probably ask me. Okay. So I'm just gonna actually write do this one right there. What is your interest rate? Interest rate, oh goodness, okay. It gives me intelligent thing right here, light bulb, and it fixes for me. Okay, that's good. Now, can we do calculation with int and double? They're both kind of like number. This is a whole number and this is a decimal. Can we do calculation with Java? Does Java like this? So Java doesn't like this. Who wants to answer while I run this program?
I'm sure like this.
Huh?
Maybe not, because the decimal and full amount is the not at a time.
Okay. You're saying not. Okay. Anybody else saying yes?
I think it likes it because it takes less memory.
But can you do operation between int and double? That was the question. And then, okay, what is your payment? What is your down payment is, let's say 50 to 3. And then what is your closing cost? It's maybe like 30,000. It's a pretty standard for New York, 32,000, 38,000 is like crazy amount.
Yeah, 30,000 is the standard, is average.
Yeah, but when you actually go on closing table, you end up paying close to 40. That's what happened to me like last few months. When I went
Yeah, no, I have a little idea because I am closing this month too.
okay, okay. So I guess back in 2016, I got a closing cost of 25,000. And this time recently, somebody bought a house and I was there to help them out. It became 38. And the second person that bought a house, I was still there. They put 42,000. So it's just.
Yeah, because somebody who buy in the point, there's more than it's almost 50,000.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, buying points only makes sense if you're not gonna do refinancing. Okay, so we got the double up to this much, it works. Okay, so now we want to calculate the borrowing amount. Makes sense now, right? 688 because we did the right calculation, correct? So this amount, we want to take the borrowing amount and we want to now say total in 30 years. So total payment in 30 years, right? 30 years mortgage. Or we should probably like do calculation like how many years they want, 15 to 30, whatever. But we'll do that later. But for now, we'll do 30 as a standard and then we go from there. We can ask them, is it 30 or is it like 15? And whatever they say, we can then do the calculation. Okay, so total amount in 30 years. What will be the calculation, guys? So in order to find interest in 30 years for, okay, so formula to find years interest, right? It should be A is equal to P. Okay, that's fine. I got a formula right here just to make
Why
our
are
life.
you writing? We didn't see the screen.
Yeah, it's just on Google. I'm just Googling like finding a formula.
Okay.
So okay, this is the formula. I'm gonna write it here, whatever I got there, right? The formula is A is equal to P is for principal amount, and then I believe, okay, principal, and then we got 1 plus RT. RT is like the rate, okay, plus rate, interest rate, and then okay. Okay, so that's that. 10,000, 5 years time, and T is, so actually rate and the time, right? So let me just give myself a time to look into the convert rate percentage to a decimal. Decimal, okay. Our equation, okay, 10,000, and then 1 plus, okay, rate times, okay, sorry, rate times time, basically the time. So this is 30 and this is rate, and this is gonna be 1 plus. Okay, I think this is a constant, I believe. Feel free to let me know. And
I don't
this
think
is,
that's right.
so what could be the calculation here? I'm trying to look for the formula. This is the formula that
Yeah.
I'm seeing.
But the principal times 1 plus rate divided by the number of what do you call number of interest in per year, then to the power n times t. So n is how many times the interest will apply, and t is time.
Two decimal. Okay.
So rate divided by the number of times interest will be applied per year.
Okay. So
So if you think about a flat rate, it's just gonna be 1.
So let's say first we convert the rate to a decimal, right? So that's gonna be okay. Let me see any easy formula, because whatever website I'm getting a formula from, it made it too complex for me to understand. Okay, 1 second. So so we have to, first thing first, 30 years, right? 30 times 12. Okay, let's do it the easiest way we can. 12 gives us the month, right? Total month. And then let's say int. So this is your total months. So in this case, it's 360 payments. Okay, and then okay. All right, so you may be right, because I'm looking into another one that says very similar to what you said. Okay. So now we divide mortgage interest rate by total payments, right? So total payments, this is your total payments, right? Or total months of payments. So total months is 8.
Not total payments. It's how many payments per year. So it's just gonna be 12. If you think
so 12 and 30, right? So 30 years. We're already doing the
okay,
right. If I do 30 times 12, that's how many total months of payment. Let me use my calculator. 1 second. This is gonna be, yeah. Once we agree to a formula, then we can apply it here. 30 times 12. So 360 months total, right? That's what I'm saying. And then if I then divide the interest rate by total payments, which is the total months, that could be our, okay. Okay, use the mortgage formula. Wish somebody wrote this more easier way to get it. They're using like a single character, so I don't know what different character means. So it's very hard to, okay. Okay, that's good. Let's look at the formula equation. Okay, monthly payment is, okay, that's good. Okay, so I got one website where it gave us a breakdown. So in order to get monthly payment, I'm going to write it here so everybody can see and then tell me if it's correct. Okay, so in order to get monthly, we are doing principal first. And in the principal, we got to do more calculations. So R, which represents monthly interest rate. And so now we're going to say 1 plus R, and we have to put to the power n, right? Divided by 1 plus r this to the n number 1. Oh, okay. So n, okay, sorry, it is to the end, and then close that 1. And then this, and then I should probably give you guys this as a homework. It's a lot of thinking going on here. So this is the formula that they're giving me. M is for total monthly mortgage payments. P is for principal loan amount. And then R is the monthly interest rate. So in order to calculate monthly interest rate, you're gonna need the rate, and you're gonna then have to, okay, so if it's 5%, okay, 0.005 divided by 12. Okay. And then we have the numbers of payment, which is obviously 30 years. Okay. So that's going to take a significant amount of time. 2 is a hard stop for me. So today maybe we'll stick to this much. And if anybody is brave enough, can continue. But this is what I need from you guys, right? I need that homework that some of you guys that didn't do, and people that already did it. I want you to take a look at this. I want you to create this by looking at the video. Okay. I want you to create this, and I will be very much interested to see if you kind of go through it and complete it, and what formula did you use, because we take the values and then we use the formula. But when you do the formula, remember, you cannot use double into, and you cannot do an operation with double and int, because that will throw an error saying, hey, I don't understand what you're saying. So 2 things you can do. One, you leave that as double, but you convert this value as double. Like you basically convert all of them as double. It doesn't hurt you, because number one reason why it doesn't hurt you, because it's a whole number. If it's a whole number, it'll show a whole number. It's not going to ignore anything. But if it's an int and you're expecting a decimal, it will ignore anything after the dot. So you're going to get miscalculated. We got 7 minutes. I'd like to keep some time for questions, and then we will take it from here. From line number 42, the next class, we're going to actually go through it. I'm going to think about the formula a little bit, because it's hard to understand. It's like, in order to get the monthly payment, you have to do multiplication a couple of times, and power to the n couple of times, and just pretty much go over the whole formula. If you guys also want to do some homework, if you already did your homework, just look at the formula and try to help me out at the time of writing this code. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I will probably do a fun project based on this. I'm going to give you guys something else to do by tonight or tomorrow, and this will be only for the people who finished the last quiz. And then those who didn't finish, you are still expected to finish, and then you can also do this new one as fun, but the priority for you is the previous quiz that we asked you to do. Any question, guys? If not, then we're going to end in 6 minutes today.
I have a question about previous quiz.
Okay. What is it?
You're not going to deduct my mark if I ask you the question.
No, don't worry.
So because I didn't did the quiz by memory, I Googled, I checked your screenshots that I took during the classes, then I Googled and I did it. Mm-hmm. So is there any website where I can check more of the model quiz like you gave us and I practice on my own?
Yes, there is, and I will probably recommend few websites. But when you say you're a programmer, and when you say you're an engineer, and when we do some things, we Google things, we basically research and we understand, and then we do it, right? We make something new out of nothing using code. So any engineers that you'll ever meet, any programmer that you will ever meet, they will never tell you, no, it cannot be done. They will say, okay, let me do some research. Let me look at it. Let me understand what it is. And then they Google it, they do their research, they understand if it's possible with this programming language. and then they do it, right? Because nobody memorizes the whole book, Java book. If you ask me a question right now from a Java situation where you ask me a specific class, maybe you go a bit deeper, I will not be able to answer it. But you give me a few minutes, I will be able to tell you exactly how to implement. You give me a few minutes to research and I'll be able to do the coding for you and show you. So that's the important thing here, is that memorization is not needed. If you're using Google, continue to use Google. That is how everybody writes their code at work. And W3 schools is something that developers use for reference, meaning they forgot that something exists, or they forgot, let's say, few syntax, how the syntax should look like. They go to W3 school. I've seen it myself, and they basically go in there and do their own research. They will not tell you like, oh, I Googled it like this. No, it's you Google things to understand how it works, but then how you use it here is matters, right? So any programmer, if they tell me and they come and tell me that, okay, I wrote everything out of my own memory, then possibly either one, they're lying, or two, that's the only language they used for their entire life. Okay. And they have been coding for 10, 15 hours per day. So it's one of them will be true, right? So that's what I will tell you this much, is that, Google as much as you need in order to finish your projects, for your homework, and we have no problem with that.
Perfect. Let's
All
go
right.
with that one.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
is a liar.
No, it's not about lying, right? Think about it this way. When people say, like, you go to Google and you find some code and you copy paste, it's not called plagiarism, right? It's basically, you're not plagiarizing somebody's work. It's because this code, even if you write it here, like, for example, I wrote this line right here, print out system.println. Somebody somewhere, their program, they wrote this, right? Its code is available. These things are methods and functions that are available to you to utilize. So if you go online and you find something and you use it, you didn't just take some originals authors information and did it, unless you copy exact code to do something. For example, you go to Facebook and somehow you find their repository and copy the entire code and create another Facebook. That's a problem. But if you go to Facebook and you look into their code and you understand how it works, and then you create similar, it is not something that you're copying. So just make sure that this is not something is wrong. Don't feel like it's wrong. Even if you're at work and they gave you something and you immediately know that this is going to be difficult, then just tell them, like, okay, let me take a look, let me do some Googling, researching, or whatever, and then I'll get back to you, right? And it's fine. You perfectly can Google at work, unless it's a government project. If you get a government project and you're not allowed to use Google, then use maybe do the research night before, write everything down, print it, and take it to work. And it's extremely painful. I have somebody 6 months later, they quit because it was a super it was one of the government project, and he was the only guy somehow passed the interview and got the job and everything. Before he goes into the office, they would scan him. Even his phone is not allowed to go through that gate. So he goes and sit down and work, and every day he would have to do research ahead of time, print them out. And this printout paper, they would look at it before he even gets in. And it's just crazy. So 6-7 months later, I was like, oh, I can't do this, Joel. It's just too much. I can't even talk on the phone. This building, everything is kind of like, none of the outside device works, and it's just going crazy. I said, okay, look for something else. It's fine. You did 6 months already. So you can always change job. You go to the first job and you get disappointed. It's okay, just get a next job. It's not a problem. There's plenty of jobs out there. But if you work in a regular company and you do Googling, even your boss comes behind you and sees you, it's okay. It's totally fine. It's perfectly fine. You're YouTubing, you go into YouTube and you're reading, you're listening to coding challenge. Maybe you're listening to somebody who's explaining how you're supposed to write your code. That is perfectly fine. If you're doing a Udemy course in your work and you do have some downtime and you're doing it, and you can even say in the meeting, hey, so I know that I'm working with Python, and I haven't done that for a little while. So right now I'm just doing a Python course. I'm finishing for chapter 2. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing chapter 3. I'm putting 1 hour from my day to learn Python. And that is perfectly fine. You're saying it out loud in the meeting in front of everybody, and that is perfectly fine. So learning, looking into things and researching is 100% fine. And remember, you are going as an engineer. You must be respected as such. So and trust me, your opinion has a lot of value. When you go and join a company, your team basically listens to you, right? If you tell them it cannot be done because of this reasons and that reasons, then it's fine. That's how they're going to take it. If you say I need 5 more days to finish, that's how they will basically give you the 5 more extra days. So it's like, think about it, it's teamwork. Everybody listens to each other. It's a small team. You go into Slack, you can ask questions at any time. You try not to bother them too much. If you ask question, ask more than one, right? Not like every half an hour there's a question. If you have more than 5 or 6 questions, just set up a meeting and just say, hey, do you have half an hour? Go into the meeting and say, hey, today's agenda is to go through these questions. I wrote down 6 questions that I primarily have. The first question I will ask you is this. What do you say to this? And then now that person is answering, they're finished and go into the next question, so and so. End of the meeting, that person is going to feel like he was doing work because it was a meeting. If you did the same thing without setting up a meeting, that person would feel like he's doing you a favor. And you don't want that. You don't want favors. You want them to do their job, which is to make sure that they help out, not only just do their work, but also help out to make sure that you as a new person who is up to date, up to skills to do your work. And that's how you actually get things out of your coworkers. If you just say, hey, John, can you quickly answer this question? He's going to feel like a favor. He's going to say, okay, fine, is this. And then tomorrow, same thing. And day after is same thing. And this becomes like, John is going to be like, this person always asks me the questions and I spend my time. Compared to you saying, John, do you have half an hour today? And he's going to say, yes, what's up? And you're going to say, all right, there is a meeting that I sent out, please accept, and I will discuss further on to that meeting. You go into the meeting and you say, hey, John, so today's agenda is to have a learning, maybe do some knowledge transfer. I'm working on such and such product, and I need to do this and that. And I have this many questions. This question will help me to continue to do what I'm doing. So let's start with number 1. And number 1 question is this, and then so and so. And you basically write your notes, and then you can even like next day, you go into your daily stand-up meeting and everybody's saying something like they're working on this and that. You can say, yesterday I met with John. He was very helpful on answering some of my question. We did about 1 hour meeting and very productive. We had several questions. I had several questions that I needed the answer in order for me to continue, and he perfectly answered those. So I'm really thankful to John. And I will be today reaching out to Victor. I need to do a long knowledge transfer from him, understanding more component of our current automation framework. And that will be my day today. And that's it, So it is perfectly fine. You don't have to pretend you have 6 years of experience and you should be God in programming. You can simply say, well, this is definitely new. Let's sit down and talk about it. Let's get some knowledge transfer. Before joining in an interview, you're going to be a superstar, meaning you're going to be acting as a superstar, that you kind of know a little bit of everything. Once you get a job, you don't have to pretend. Now you're going to ask for help. Once you already get the offer on your first day, you're going to say, who can I reach out when I need help? Who is going to be the main point of contact to get me up to speed? And then who's going to help me run this automated test? I need to see it running, and then I can start to contribute. I need to see, what I need to, study. The first week, you realize the language that they are using is not the language that you know. That's fine. You're going to say, okay, I need at least a week for me to get up to speed with this language. So I'm going to put some time in my calendar, block your calendar with 2 hours learning per day. So you just have to make sure that, you're doing things the right way. There is a wrong way and there is a right way. if you do it wrong way, you're not going to enjoy it. They're not going to appreciate it. And therefore, it's not about you getting fired. It's also you not even getting attached to the work. You're going to be feeling like outcasted all the time. And that's why you're going to get a lot of job placement related tips and tricks at the end. And we need you guys to kind of focus right now to finish one thing at a time. We meet, Socrates, Shanta and I, we meet every week and we decide who's going to teach and what will be the subject. They have other subjects, outstanding list of items they need to talk about. And I said, I told them, let me just, because today was going to be Shantabai's class, half of it. But I said, okay, can I just take your half, because I feel like, you know, they need a little bit extra learning on the Java, you know. So once we feel a little bit confident and onto Java, we're gonna then reintroduce some of the subject that we need to continue, Socrates or even Shantabai will do. And we're gonna try to make sure that you're good with one topic before moving into the next. Otherwise, it'll be a bit more harder for you to learn. With that said, guys, I believe you guys don't have any more questions. And if you do, just Slack us. Anybody else will answer it. And I'll have this meeting closed by now, and have a good Sunday and talk to you guys soon.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. I will have a lot of questions once I see the homework page.
No problem.
Same to me. Thank you, teacher. Have a good
Welcome.
day.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much, Teach. Enjoy your Sunday.
You as well. Bye-bye.